Hey, everybody. Welcome to Moms for Justice. How are you?
Good. Good evening.
I'm Carolyn, and
Y-
this is Jocelyn. It's good to see you guys again. How you
Yes,
been?
it's a Friday night.
I
It's
know.
something new for us. It's weird that we're coming in on Friday, but it's
Yeah.
okay. It's good.
In case you guys haven't heard, she's back in school, so we're moving to Tuesdays and Friday nights, and then we're still doing some side stuff, and we'll have stuff going up during the week in between that as well. But today, I got a doozy for you.
Yes.
So
So she texted me today
yeah,
and she was like, "Okay, we're switching it up, but this is the new case." And I'm like, "All right." And it's a
yes.
good one. It's
It's
a
a
good
good
one.
one. It's the fall of the Alexander brothers. They are real estate moguls, okay, and they're now criminals. And it's pretty compelling story. And I want to give everybody a warning if you're listening right now. It is some very sensitive, graphic information. It's kind of like a P Diddy style situation, times
Hmm.
100 clicks.
Oh,
I actually think that these guys, these three guys right here, make P. Diddy look like an angel.
really?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
So the
Okay.
Alexander brothers
All
were
right.
once hailed as rock stars of luxury real estate, selling multi-million dollar homes in New York and Miami. They
Okay.
have this high society empire, and it just come crashing down on them now. Now, the main are three guys here. They're all three of them are brothers, but the two on the left are twins. On the
Hmm.
left is Oren, and then you've got Alon Alexander. They're both 37 years old, and then their older brother is on the right, and he's 38 years old, and his name is Tal, and they're Israeli. Okay, they were both arrested in Miami on December 11th.
Both?
I mean,
You mean
yeah,
all
all of
three?
them, all of them were.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
together, they all were. December 11th in 2024, and they've had multiple sexual assault and trafficking charges against them. So this has been like a crazy, stunning downfall for them. And also amongst like an ultra rich real estate world, it's kind of been shocking, and it's making all the headlines all over the news right now. And there are people covering this, and this is my first time touching on the case, but it is ongoing. So I just want to have our viewers hear about it. If you haven't heard about it, here it is. So,
Okay.
so according to the federal indictment filed in New York, the brothers are accused of working together to repeatedly and violently drug, sexually assault, and rape dozens of victims. We're looking at over 40 at this point. Okay, that
Wow.
have come forward since the first few did. In addition, Oren
Okay.
and Alon, sorry, they're facing sexual battery charges also in Miami Beach. Um, the defendants use their wealth and positions to create and facilitate opportunities to basically sexually assault women. So who are they? Okay, so before their arrest, let me tell you a little bit about them. The brothers were real estate royalty, brokering record-breaking deals and rubbing elbows with celebrities, billionaires, and high society elites. Okay, so here's a few keynotes. In 2012, Oren and Tal found the Alexander team. It was a division of Douglas Elliman, where they quickly became stars in luxury real estate market. In 2013, Details magazine dubbed them real estate royalty, noting their jet-setting lifestyle and A-list clientele. And in 2019, they brokered a $238 million sale of a Manhattan penthouse at the top of 220 Central Park. Okay, it is the
Okay.
most expensive private residence ever sold in U.S. history. Okay,
Wow.
yeah.
How
So
much was it?
it was $238 million. Okay,
Wow.
so yeah,
Who
so that's pretty crazy, right? In
who lives there?
2022, there is, you can look it up. There is some guy, I mean,
Yeah.
he's
No,
not
I know.
anybody
I
we
know.
would know, but in
Yeah, yeah.
2022, they launched their own real estate brokerage firm called Official. It's just called Official, um,
Okay.
which expanded them a lot further. So their lifestyle. So they didn't just sell luxury, they literally lived it. Okay. So they traveled the world, events in St. Tropez, Aspen, Monaco, Hong Kong. Tal Alexander once boasted in an interview, and I quote, "You have to be in St. Tropez in July, Aspen in the winter, Hong Kong for Art Basel. I think it's Basel, Basel, Cannes
Okay.
for the film festival, and Monaco for the Grand Prix. Their father is Shlomi Alexander, a wealthy Israeli-born real estate developer, and their mother is Orly Alexander, and is the CFO and co-founder of Kent Security. Alan Alexander is the current president of Kent Security. Okay,
Huh.
so I've
So he's the
got,
president with his
yes,
mom's job. Okay.
yes. Okay, so lawsuit number one is Kate Whiteman. Okay. Currently now she lives in Australia, but she had finally come forward. So she met the brothers in 2008, and she would frequently see them out and about in New York City. Okay. Oren was asking her out on multiple occasions, and she declined. In her lawsuit, Kate Whiteman alleges that in 2012, she was leaving a club in the Hamptons. Alon recognized her and pulled her towards a black SUV, pushing her inside where Oren was waiting. The twins then abducted her, and she repeatedly asked them, where are we going? And they refused to answer her, but she notes that they were like really smirking at her the whole time and smirking at each other.
Okay.
They took her to an extravagant Hamptons party mansion in Watermill, Long Island. The estate is owned by the flamboyant and a cape-wearing banking heir turned recording artist, Ivan Wilzig. Okay? When the
Okay.
car pulls into the garage, she was asked to the garage door shuts behind her, and I've never heard of a garage door like you hearing it lock, but her statement is that the garage door was locked behind her.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I'd never heard of that.
Yeah.
They then ask her to change into a sarong. She tried to escape by running up the 3 steps into the house. She's still fully clothed at this point. And she was pulled back into the garage by a security bouncer. He is basically an agent employed to protect Sir Ivan and his home. So there are employees and other people that are there. So they're all part of this, It's
So their names are on there too?
I don't have his name. I don't know if
Okay.
she ever gives them their name, but
Right. I
this
doubt
is
she
just
even
her
knows.
statement.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they pull her back. He pulls her back into the garage, and she's forced to strip in front of them. It's just completely humiliating, and told to put on this sarong. Her items are then locked in a locker that's in the garage, and Oren locks it up and puts the key around his wrist. Like, I feel like I'm going for a
Right.
mammogram. You go for a
Yeah.
mammogram, they give you the key with the little coily bracelet.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it just absolutely, it's totally
Interesting.
planned out and organized. It's really sick. So once there, Whiteman claims she was dragged into a large bedroom where she was sexually assaulted, abused, raped, pinned, groped, harassed, battered, and fondled by both Alon and Oren. She said Sir Ivan and employees are just as liable as well, so she's accusing them of being a part of it. Definitely an operation that's carefully thought out, right? I mean,
Oh, absolutely. So it doesn't sound like this is their first rodeo or their first victim, you know.
no, definitely not.
But she's just the first one to come up. She's the first
She's
one to come up to
come
say
out. Now
something.
these are all came
Yeah.
out recently.
Okay.
And and I
But
want to
she was
talk
the
about that.
first.
I don't know if she's the absolute first.
Oh,
I only have 5
okay.
in a row. I'm not sure which one comes first.
Okay.
But
Okay.
anyway, somewhere in there's always the truth, right?
Right.
And I never want to shame a woman for coming forward or to say that what that can't be true or anything, and why are y'all coming out now and you didn't come out before? But that does cross my mind sometimes. How
Well,
many yeah,
that's real mental anguish for them. It takes a
sure.
lot of, and look, they're filthy rich. They have a lot. They can hire, the top lawyers. Like, so that comes into play for them. Like, can she really win the suit? Can she prove, their
Yeah.
what they did to her? So
Yeah.
I can understand why she second guessed her. It took her a long time to finally come forward.
Yeah. Oh, and I
Yeah.
do think that there are women that wait and wait for good reason. But how many are out there that are just are lying, you know? But
Oh, well, that's
again,
true.
that's what I'm saying. So there is one of the stories, and I'm going to ask you to take a close listen to all the stories, because there's one of them in here that, and it could have been this one, but I'm saying there's one
Okay.
story that bothers me a little bit. So you can tell me what you think afterwards. Okay.
Okay.
So lawsuit number 2 is Rebecca Mandel. She met both brothers in 2009. And in a separate lawsuit, Mandel alleges that she met the twins in 2010 at a now closed nightclub in New York's Meatpacking District when she was just 18 years old. According to her suit, Alon spiked her drink, rendering her vulnerable, and her memory gets hazy. They basically convince her to go to their apartment under false pretenses of a party. When she gets there, there is no one there, and she realizes she has been tricked. She was repeatedly held down where they raped her and took turns on her.
Oh,
that is
God.
Rebecca's. I know, it's horrible.
Nightmare. Yeah.
Absolute nightmare.
And that happened when she was 18. Like, that's just, she has the rest of her life to, constantly think about that day. That's so hard to move forward. God bless her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just can't imagine it. I just can't. But
No.
okay, so that one's shorter than the first one. Lawsuit number 3 I have is Angelica Parker. She's a New York City woman. She filed a lawsuit accusing Oren, Alon, and the older brother, Tal, so now he's involved on this one, on coordinating a sexual assault inside the brothers' shared Soho apartment in the fall of 2012. So according to her suit, Parker and an unidentified friend visited the apartment where the Alexander twins lived, immediately pressured them to take ecstasy. And when they refused, the brothers allegedly became aggressive and began pressuring them for sex. Feeling uncomfortable, Parker's friend quickly leaves the apartment but stays in the stairwell out of concern for her friend.
So her friend doesn't leave with her?
Nope. And there's no, I went looking for like an explanation. Did she say why she didn't leave with her friend? So yeah. So she leaves Parker alone. And that's the other thing. Like, why would you leave your friend after you were just being pressured? Why would you leave? Why would you be the one going in the stairwell? Right? Like,
well, I mean, obviously, if your friend is leaving and you feel uncomfortable, you're going to go with her. There had to be a reason why she stayed behind.
yeah. And vice versa. Like,
What do you mean
what I
vice
mean?
versa?
Well, I'm saying is Parker's friend leaves and goes in the stairwell and just hangs out in the stairwell. Meanwhile, her friend, I'm assuming her friend is being about ready to be raped. Why would you leave your friend behind?
Well,
Why wouldn't you?
if I wanted to leave and I felt uncomfortable and my girlfriend was like, "No, I'm going to stay." There's only so much you can do. I'm sure she tried. No, let's go, let's
Right.
go, let's go. And she just wanted to stay. I mean, I'm not going to stay just because she doesn't want to go.
True, but if you stay in the stairwell and you don't go outside and get to a phone and call 911 for your friend, that's suspicious too, right? Why didn't she just at least go down the street and get some help? Remember, these lawsuits came out now. This is a 2012 incident, and that friend never called the police to help her. That's just weird. It's sus. It's sus for me.
She had to have a phone. 2012, everybody was carrying a phone.
Whether she had a phone or not, even waving, going down, it's a New York City apartment, right? You go downstairs, you're in a stairwell, you go down the stairs, go out the main, and you flag somebody down. My friend is, you know what I mean? Why didn't she do that either? So I'm just saying.
I don't know if anybody would listen.
So leaving Parker alone with the 3 men. Okay, so that's when she claims the brothers, I'm back to Parker now. She claims that the brothers, Alon and Tal, rape her in a coordinated sexual assault. Oren sat in a chair in the room while this is happening and watched. When Parker left, the friend was there still in the stairwell, and she and her immediately, she told her what happened and they immediately left. Okay, so now you know the story that I'm confused about. Something doesn't make sense about it.
Right, there's a missing link. There's a missing part of that story.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But the abuse doesn't stop there. Okay, with Parker. Okay, so they left, right? But Parker alleges that years later, Tal Alexander, the oldest, attempts to sexually assault her again after bursting into a room at a home where she was staying at, and he happened to be staying at that house too, and attempts to try to assault her. This time she was able to scream loud enough for others to hear, which stopped the attack before it escalated any further.
What year? Do we know what year that was?
Years later. It just says years later.
Yeah. Okay.
That bothers me because now there's other witnesses in the house that when she screamed, came and helped her and stopped it. Why didn't they make a phone call? So either these guys are like that powerful and paying off people, or
I mean, if they have that much money, you usually are. You know what I mean?
it's so sad because nobody has God in
Yeah.
their life anymore. And if if you're going to do the right thing, it doesn't matter how much money they have. It doesn't.
Well, they just have the power to ruin your life, is what she's probably worried about. Like
Right.
you don't know
But
what was her
when
career.
you're a good person and you do the right thing, no one's power can break you down ever. You
Well,
always
I'm
do the
talking
right
about
thing.
right. I can understand doing the right thing, but maybe she felt like her job would be in jeopardy. Like all he has to do is make one phone call. I mean, we don't know what does she. There had to be something over her, something they held over her that made her not. And it could be as simple as feeling unsafe. It could just be
Yeah,
the
but
feeling of
it's not just her though. There's other people in the home that heard her scream. Each individual person, you have to answer to them to this. You know what I mean? Why didn't you make a call?
right.
You know
Well,
what I
if
mean?
anybody's going to make the call, then it would really be her. Like why would I call on her behalf? I would approach her and said, "You need a call." And if she says, "No, no, I want to forget about it. I want to forget about it." Like I'm not going to sit there and make the call for her.
No, 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 no. If I hear a woman screaming and I'm in the house and there's multiple people heard her scream, doesn't matter what
And then
she says. We know she's being assaulted. She's screaming about an assault. I'm going to pick up the phone and call 911 immediately. I'm not going to go, "Hey, is it okay if I call?" Really?
well, yeah, I would be like, "What's wrong?" And then they're going to say, "No, everything's fine. I'm going to leave her alone, blah blah blah." And then I would be like, "What happened?" And he tried to assault me. Okay, well, let's call the cops. No, I
Hmm.
don't want to call the cops. No, leave it alone. I just want to forget it. He left me alone. If he does it again, then I'll call. You know what I mean? Like you also have to it didn't happen to me. It happened to that person.
Okay.
I would do everything I can to try to get her to see that she needs to make that phone
Mm.
call, but if she doesn't want to, I'm not
Mm.
going to make it for her.
Well, I disagree with that. Somebody's blood curling screaming they're being assaulted. I'm calling the police. So that's just my take on it.
Right.
Okay, so Parker's attorney, Michael Williman, issued a strong statement condemning the Alexanders' alleged pattern of abuse, warning that the brothers would likely use their wealth and influence to discredit his victims, which usually is what happens, right? Like
Which is
they all
what I
do
just
it.
said.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, well, not about. Okay. Today's lawsuit is intended to send a message that the law applies even to the very wealthy and well connected, including the Alexanders. He also praised Parker's bravery for coming forward, stating, "We applaud Angelica's bravery in coming forward, as we have no doubt that the Alexanders will amass an army of PR reps and private investigators to launch a victim shaming campaign."
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Parker's lawsuit
And
adds
they
to the
have.
already, yeah, yeah. Parker's lawsuit adds to the already damning allegations against the brothers, following the other lawsuits, including Kate Whiteman and Rebecca Mandel. Each lawsuit paints a disturbing picture of the brothers using their wealth and power. So, lawsuit 4, um, actually, yeah, lawsuit 4. Renee Willett. Renee Willett. Okay, she filed a civil lawsuit in New York just last month in December. She accused Orrin Alexander of drugging and forcibly raping her inside his Manhattan apartment in December of 2016. She only came forward after other women did, filing it federally because she is a resident of New York and he is from
Mm,
Florida. So once there's two states involved, it has to be federal. I don't know
federal.
if you knew.
Right.
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 So they
No,
met
I
on
didn't know
a
that, but yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So they met on a dating app. After talking, she agreed to meet with him. So on her lawsuit, Willett met Orrin in 2015. She agreed to meet him in person only after realizing that they had mutual friends. Okay. That's common too, right? Like you feel
Right.
comfortable because like if you go on your Facebook, your mutual friend, there's some sort of
Right.
comfort in that. But really,
Yes.
some of them are still strangers. Not everybody knows everybody on their Facebook
Yes.
friends list, right? So keep that
Right.
in
Right.
mind, ladies. Okay. So during their meeting at his apartment, he offered her water, but he brings her something that's carbonated. She drinks it. That's stupid, but she drank it.
Yeah.
And then said she was drugged from that drink. He then asks her after she's woozy. He asked her if she wanted a tour of his apartment to see his art collection, and before she knew it, she ended up in his bedroom. She felt uncomfortable and tried to leave. He blocked her path and he pulled at her shirt, pulling it down, causing her to fall backward, and then she lands on the bed, which is when he proceeds to rape her. She was too ashamed to report the rape to police, but decided to file her lawsuit after the others came forward. She did remark that during the rape, it was visually on his face and in his physical body that he had anger and rage in his movements, in his eyes. She said he's clearly anonymous to women, like hates women. That's what she thinks.
Wow.
So with that lawsuit, the number of named victims taking legal action against the brothers continue to rise even more. According to the
So how
plaintiff's
many
attorney,
now?
40 something now.
Wow.
We're at 40 something as far as I know this week.
Okay.
According to the plaintiff's attorney, there are many more victims that are still afraid to speak out. Now, go ahead.
Well, it's just like, yeah, just like, when P. Diddy, like everybody was coming out of the woodwork and he was years. And this is only been a month ago, right? Like a month. It's been only like 6 weeks that I guess they've been indicted, and there's already 40 plus. There's so many more people.
So many more. Yeah, I
So
know.
many.
Hey, hit the
Which is
subscribe
so
button. If you're on here right now, hit the subscribe button, like and share. We do appreciate it. So, okay, so my next one is the worst one, and she is Jane Doe. She will not name herself. And I was just like watching the news about people talking about Jane Does. Unfortunately, when you don't give yourself a name, when you don't identify yourself, it's actually like it takes a notch out of your belt. Apparently, to say you're a Jane Doe makes you less credible statistically, and it's very unfortunate. But I mean, I can also see why she's a Jane Doe, because when you hear this story, you're gonna be like, "What?"
Well, can she change her mind? Like, could she not be like Jane Doe after?
And they're encouraging her. They want her to come forward. They want her to come forward and identify herself so that she can be a strong witness and be credible in court.
Okay.
But as of right now,
I
she's
hope
a
she
John
does.
Doe. Yeah.
Right. And I can, so after, I'm going to, obviously we're going to listen to her story, but if it's really as bad as you say, I can also concur, like that, why she wouldn't put her name to that. But I'm hoping after everybody comes, I mean, 40 something people, that might give her a little bit more, like all these other people putting their names. She must be like the only Jane Doe. And honestly, worse, I mean, that other girl, the second one, she had all three of them. What could be actually worse than that? Oh no, Oren was the one that was watching.
Right. Oren was watching.
And the other one.
And it was
Tal
and Alan. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Jane Doe. Worst one of them all. All right. So filed in New York State in December 2024. So just a month ago. She lived in New York, where she traveled to Miami. She met Alan on the dating app Bumble in 2016. They had a brief relationship where they met, and this is the gist of the relationship. They met twice at his apartment in New York, and there was no issues. And I have something to say about that after all this. Okay? Let me just, I don't want to lose that thought. I'm going to go back to that. So her and Alan are fine on the 2 times that they visit, right? Together. Then she goes to Miami with friends, okay, separate. And she's there on New Year's in 2016. Alon utilized location identifying measures, like, I don't know, find my phone, how like you can find
Right.
somebody on your phone. But
Right.
I don't know if he put something on her phone or what, but he found her using some sort of location device along with her social media, like just looking to see where she's posting from and stuff, to find out that
Right.
she was in Miami. So he starts texting her and she's texting him back and she's saying, "Oh, I'm in Miami." And he's like, "Oh, I'm in Miami." But he like never lets her know that he knew she was in Miami.
Right.
So
Right.
they're like talking about syncing up since they're both there in Miami. Um, he sent her a photo of a party he was at in that very moment that he was texting her. He's like, "Hey, I'm at this party. It's being dubbed a luxury building. So I don't know if it's a hotel or the backyard of someone's house. So I don't know. But it's a luxury building where there was a pool and there were people everywhere and drinks and everybody's partying." And he takes a picture of it and he sends it over and he's like, "Hey, come on over here. We'll have a good time."
And which one? Which boy? Which brother is this again?
This is Alon.
Okay.
Alon now, who we haven't heard as much from. I mean, he did rape the other girl, but I'm just saying
Right.
he's initiating for the first time I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
So anyway, so he uses the picture to entice her to come, and she takes an Uber over there. His brother Oren, and then a friend named Ohad Fisherman. Okay, Ohad Fisherman, he says is his cousin, but we later find out that they lie about that, and he's not really their cousin. Okay,
He's like
but
a friend, a family kind of thing.
no,
Oh,
it's
we don't
just
know.
it's not a family member. They tell her when she gets there, this is my twin brother Oren, and this is Ohad Fisherman, my cousin. And I think it
Right.
was just a ploy to make her even more comfortable. Hey, this is family. This isn't like some other strange guy.
Right.
So,
Right.
she claims Alon leads her to a building and the other two follow. And when she goes into a room that's in that building, the other two close the door and lock it once they're all inside. Okay. Jane Doe then claims, and this is horrible. This is really horrible. Jane Doe
Okay.
claims that the twins begin to argue and get into a huge argument and fight right in front of her about which one is going to rape her first. And she's sitting there
Okay.
waiting for them to decide. Oren wins the argument apparently, and Ohad, okay, the so-called cousin who's not really the cousin,
Right.
holds her down as Oren rapes her. And she says she went into fight or flight mode and decides to pretend she was enjoying it, thinking that somehow this would be able to help her get away later. Oren then stops and says, "Forget this." I won't use the word he used. Throws his condom on the ground and leaves. Then Alon rapes her next, and then orders her after that to perform acts on Ohad. She says she was unable to perform those acts because she was so hysterical crying that she just couldn't do it. Alon then forces her to take a shower, and he even gets in and joins her. And then they send her home in an Uber. She said this seems so normal to these guys, like it was any other day. That's her comments. So, what do you think about that? Like, it's really awful, right? I mean, just...
Well, I think honestly they could turn around and say that she was enjoying it because she said I acted like I was enjoying it. So that
Yeah,
they could
sure.
totally say, you know.
I have issues with Parker's story a little bit with the stairwell and all that, but we kind of already hashed that out.
Yeah.
I think you guys know.
Right.
But
Well, you said you had a point you want to talk about. You remember you
yes.
wrote it down. What was that
Well,
about?
I find it funny. Well, maybe I'm going to take it back because I was going to say, I know Oren seems to be the one we hear the most about. And I just thought it was funny how, like, when she first went on those first 2 dates in New York, that they were, well, no, I will make the point. She's alone.
Okay.
She goes on 2 casual dates with Alon in New York,
Right.
and nothing happens. There is no indication whatsoever, which tells me that they feed each other. They need to be together to do this. And maybe Alon was alone with her. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you ever see
Well,
murders happen with two people that commit the murder, and one would never do that without the other, and this one would never do it with that
right.
person.
Well, maybe their first, I mean, we don't know the details of their first date. Maybe she said their date was like meet me at the restaurant and there was no going back to his house. Like maybe that was her rule. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like
But
if
she
maybe there
was in
wasn't an
his apartment.
opportunity.
But she was in his
Oh,
apartment on 2 occasions. She met with him at his apartment.
oh,
So it
oh,
wasn't
okay.
out. It wasn't
Yeah.
outings. So I just thought,
Okay.
it's just something I'm observing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. It's
sometimes,
interesting.
you get a rally of people together and it creates a perfect storm. And
Right.
he was alone and maybe felt like, I'm not going to do this, because maybe it wouldn't be in his nature to do it if he didn't have that other element of his twin. I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, so the brothers, they fight back claiming their innocence. Oren, Alan, and Tal, for the most part, refuse to comment, obviously, because attorneys are going to tell them not to comment, right? They're
Right. And they really
Miami-based.
shouldn't.
They have a Miami-based attorney, Michael Denaro. He's begun a counteroffensive claiming the brothers are innocent and that the allegations are fabricated, exaggerated. We all know how this works, right? They all do it.
Right. Right.
Especially when they're rich, they just want the money, He says he's going to say that all the intimate encounters were all consensual, so they're not denying they were with these people.
Right.
Denaro provided the Miami Herald with text messages and direct messages allegedly sent by 2 of the women who filed lawsuits. According to Denaro, these messages show the women willingly interacting with the brothers after the alleged assaults.
Oh,
Okay. One message
that's interesting.
allegedly invites Oren to a fundraiser for Israel hosted by the woman's parents. Another message supposedly contains explicit, flirtatious text from one of the women asking to meet up again. And Denaro claims these messages were verified as real by a forensic expert hired by the brothers, and that will be presented in court. Did you want to say something?
Well, the one that asked for a fundraiser, right? So she asked him to go to a Israel fundraiser because he's Israeli, right?
Yeah.
And he's loaded, right? And maybe and it's also this fundraiser is being held by her parents.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe her parents were like, why are you not asking him to come? Like maybe
Right.
she didn't tell her parents. So maybe she felt obligated, her parents, I mean, like he has a lot of money and he could donate a lot to the cause. So that could be the reason why she reached out to him. Now, the one that had flirtatious innuendos and text message, I guess I got to hear it. I mean, what kind of flirtation is it?
Any woman that lands a date with one of these guys is probably the first woman to get on the phone and call her mother. Right? Look who I'm dating.
Right.
Look who I'm going on a date with. Right?
Especially the Israeli woman that I'm assuming
and they're
that
Israeli.
the woman. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me finish this one thought. So, okay. So we all know women will call their mother right away and be like, oh my gosh, look who I'm going on a date with, right? Then the date happens and you're raped and you feel shame and you feel disgusted. Are you going to go home and call your mother and tell her this horrible thing to happen to you? Probably not. If you're one of these that just wants to brush it under the rug. So if you have that in your mind, then this makes sense, what I just said about the mother's fundraiser. Because maybe she's like, I got to call him because my mother wants me to call him and I can't tell her what really happened and why I can't let him come to this fundraiser, right?
Right.
So very interesting. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. But the other one, I'm not sure. I got to hear what the text messages that person texts. Like, I would have to hear it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to wait for court for a lot of these things. So,
right.
Quote, the sexually suggestive inviting texts were sent days, weeks, and months after consensual contact, Denaro says. These text messages are compelling and tell a different story. However, and I have a bomb coming too. However, the plaintiff's attorney, Douglas Torgan, dismisses the brothers' defense, calling their tactics predictable, victim blaming, and character assassination. Quote, they were assaulted by strangers, but by people they knew. Post-traumatic communication is typical. They were violated basically by trusted individuals as they tried to regain some control over self-empowerment over an unbearable situation. That's what he's saying there. Okay. So the allegations, did you want to say something first? Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
The allegations against the Alexander brothers have not just shocked everybody, but they've also validated whispers that have circulated in elite Miami circles that for many years. Okay. So
it's like another P.Diddy thing, So whispers.
It says at least a half a dozen people have told the Miami Herald that rumors of the brothers sexually assaulting women have been an open secret in Miami's real estate industry. Several others have shared similar stories with other major news outlets, and a South Florida business associate who has worked with the Alexander brothers said he personally knows multiple alleged victims. The report suggests that there are, quote, many more to come. So, just to give you,
when was?
What's that?
Well, I guess that doesn't matter. I said, okay. when did that come out? But that doesn't matter.
I don't have exact date on that, but
yeah.
Okay, so since then, the wife of Tal Alexander, Ariel Kogut, her name is, has reportedly filed for divorce amid the scandal because obviously, for obvious reasons, right?
Right. So is he the only one married?
Is he the only one married? No, Oren is married, and that's another. I'm going to explain that one in a second. A judge last week said that the Alexander brothers will likely be housed at the Metropolitan Detention Center. But you know what? Before I do that, let me go back.
Oh, next to P. Diddy.
Yeah, he's with P. Diddy. They're with P. Diddy. But let me just say that a month ago, they got bond, a very expensive bond, in house arrest. Okay. And then that went away, and now they're incarcerated, but because of the federal charge overrode the state. Okay. So basically Miami gave them house arrest on a level 3. And then now they've been detained because of the federal charges. So they are with Diddy at the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York. Edward O'Donnell and Joel De Niro, the defense attorneys, issued a statement Wednesday saying these men are loving fathers, husbands, and sons who are being wrongfully accused. We ask that the media and the public keep an open mind and wait for the truth to come out. And then the latest is that they deny the bail, and a 3-hour hearing was recently had where the defense attorney argues the brothers were neither a flight risk nor a danger to the community. One lawyer claimed the brothers were no longer, you're not going to believe this, okay? In this hearing, one of his lawyers actually says the brothers are no longer orgying to the judge.
Or no longer, like he's admitting that they were having orgies?
It's almost, that's what it sounds like to me. No longer orgying. Like, they're not a threat. They're not orgying anymore. What?
Well, they're not denying that they had sex with these people. They're just saying that it was consensual.
I mean, for all their money that they have, you would think that they would get lawyers that wouldn't mess up like this. Because wait when you hear the next one.
No, what I'm saying is the brothers are not denying the sex, like they had sex with these people. They're just denying that it was force. They said that it's all consensual.
No, I understand that. But if you're an attorney,
so he could say that. He could say that origin.
No. Okay. You can say anything you want to say, but if you're an attorney that is representing somebody that is on trial for assaulting and raping women, it would not be in your best interest to use the word orgying to defend your client. You could say they're not having sex with these women consensually right now anymore. They're not having sex at all. Right. They're married. You wouldn't use the word orgying. That's not helping them. That's hurting them.
Having an orgy is consensual, by the way. Just saying.
Another lawyer argues that a woman, and this is a quote, a woman can't be incapacitated if she can still stand up. And the judge immediately shuts it down and goes, that is nonsense, cutting off the attorney. If that's your argument, you lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, that I agree with.
I can't believe it that you actually agree with something. I'm not even going to go there. Okay, so, okay, this is a bomb, okay? So sometimes they give you hints on what their evidence is during the hearings, right? Okay, so it's called a trophy video. One of the key prosecution exhibits is a 2009 video. It became a major focus of the hearing that day. Prosecutor Andrew Jones describes the footage, which allegedly shows either Orrin or Alon having sex with an incapacitated woman. The video starts with one of the twins setting up a tripod. A naked woman is on the bed, mumbling incoherently and appearing unable to move. And after the encounter, she manages to stand up but collapse back onto the bed. When Orrin, Alexander's attorney, tried to argue that mumbling and standing up proves she wasn't incapacitated, the judge shuts him down again, reaffirming, quote, in my view, having sex with a woman who is physically incapacitated is basically rape, and told him to sit down. Thank goodness.
Wow. So, where'd they get the video?
I have no idea. This hasn't come out in court yet. I mean, they're not telling us everything yet. Okay. So bail was rejected at that point. No private jail, she says, the judge says, for the ultra wealthy. The defense attorneys proposed this $115 million bail package to the judge, with the brothers confined to a Florida mansion outfitted with 24-hour private security that they would fund, window sensors and alarms. And Judge Caproni rejects the offer, citing federal case law that prohibits a two-tiered bail system where only the wealthy can secure their release with private security. She quotes by saying, if the only way I can mitigate danger to the community is to create a private jail, then I just can't do that. Next court date.
I mean, P. Diddy's when he tried to get on bail, like his outline of what he was going to give up and do was way better than what theirs was, and it still didn't matter.
Yeah.
So there's no way. And if I was P. Diddy and they got out, I would have been pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's good that everybody's being treated.
So yeah, I don't even think I need to show any footage. I mean, I think it was a pretty thorough, walk through on what's going on and bringing us up to date. And we're going to be keeping an eye on that. I know that Lynn and I have an Donald Adelson update we're going to do, but we're going to do that after this. So we're going to sign off. But yeah, so tell us what you guys think about these monster men. I mean, just sick. I mean, you do agree that makes P. Diddy doesn't look as bad now, right? I think this is pretty bad.
I mean, yeah. Actually, it's kind of sad to know that there's more cases like P. Diddy out there.
I think there's so many more that we don't know about. So many more. I think when we look on TV and we look in the movies and music and boom, 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 they're all doing stuff. And I think one is worse than the next.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for the rest of the information to come out, Right. But it's crazy. I think people just lose it when they get a lot of money. Yeah, money has a lot to do with this.
Yes. Oh, you said that Tall's wife filed for divorce. What about Orrin's wife?
No.
Orrin,
and
right?
she was I will play this one thing real quick because he actually asked if he could get out because his wife is pregnant and he wants to see his baby. Really? Really, dude? Like, I don't think so. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think so. Not a good idea, right?
Well, I wonder who's going to be the last one to come out and claim that they were raped. Like, what was the last date? You know what I mean?
Right.
How long? I wonder how long.
I think it's going to keep going. that sounds to me like these guys have way more than 40. Like it's just going to be,
Oh
they're
yeah.
everywhere with all that money.
No, I
And
know.
they're good looking guys. I mean, they're good
I
looking
guess
men.
I'm saying, like, is there going to be somebody who comes out and claims it happened to them in like the summer of 23? Like, I want to know
Yeah.
how long when did they finally stop, or did they stop, or when was the last one? That's going to come forward.
I think some of these are going to get thrown out because of the statute of limitations on it.
There's no statute of limitations in New York.
Well, there is in Miami.
For that.
I think there is in Miami. All right, here. So take it. This is just him asking for it. You know what I mean? Just gives you a little.
Fine. So it's plus house arrest. What level you want? 3?
Your Honor, I'd like to be able to go to the hospital if my wife gives labor.
That was level 3 house arrest. You have to wear an ankle monitor, and they monitor your whereabouts. And if you cut it off, they get a signal and alerted right away. And so corrections, no surrender of passport on the jail card. Okay. I'm going to make a condition, but not on the jail card.
Thank you.
Okay, it will be given to attorney. And the attorney can notify the state once it's in your possession if it's available, okay? Plus house arrest, level 3 house arrest, just to make sure it's on a monitor. And stay away from the victim. I need to look at the other case. Oh, also stay away from did I read the stay away order in this case? No. Yes, this case, you are ordered to stay away from the alleged victim.
Obviously, this is when they were allowed to have
no contact
bail.
with this alleged victim, either directly, indirectly.
I thought that was only
person,
Miami,
in
though.
writing, by
this is Miami.
or through third parties. No contact with the alleged victim through social media or other electronic means. And you must stay at least 500 feet away from the victim, her home, school, and place of employment at all times. I don't see that one. I see one for.
She has to say it, though.
Okay, so that's pretty much it.
First of all, she sounds like she has a New York accent, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Mindy Glazer.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I know that they were thrown in jail in New York and they were given the bond in Miami, so it only makes sense that this is Miami.
Right.
Let me.
And what was he wearing? Is that like a bulletproof vest?
They had vests on because they're that evil and probably afraid that they're going to get like shot at or something. Yeah, this is New York. I don't understand why that is. It is New York, and you were right. She does have a New York accent.
Yeah. I love I love her pearls. I thought her pearls were really cute.
In Florida. No, it says Florida too. So it might, I'm not sure.
Well,
but anyway,
maybe she's originally from New York. But I think that was funny how she was just like, no nonsense. Almost like Judge Judy.
Okay, so we're going to sign off, but what do you think? Do you think we should go back on live with Donald Adelson, the update, and just do it live?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to sign off, and then you just go back to our channel, and you'll see us appear live. I don't need to have a thumbnail or a link. You'll see us live. Just check us in 5 minutes, okay? And other than that, I'm really happy you guys got to join us for this awful, disturbing case. I'm really sorry for all the awful information, but hopefully we can get some justice for these ladies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we'll see you guys.
See you in 5.
See you in 5.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.